The arena lights were hot, artificial, the kind of heat meant to break dignity, not provide comfort. The two girls were shoved forward by a handler with too many scars and too few eyes. They were barefoot, bruised, wrists bound in glowing alien alloy. Collars around their necks blinked in sync with the auction rhythm. Around them the crowd roared. Not human, not kind. The alien market world of T-Sarax prided itself on efficiency. Clean transfers. No moral ambiguity, just credits and cargo. They called it the exchange. They sold weapons, secrets, even planets. And tonight they sold humans. The auctioneer, a long-limbed Sangari merchant with a voice like sizzling oil, grinned wide. Lot 47, rarer stock Earthborn, Deathworld breed, unmodified, young, untouched. Valuable. Laughter rippled through the bidders. Screens lit up with biometric scans and predictive obedience scores. One girl raised her chin, bloody lip, split cheek, but her back was straight. She said nothing. Her name was Lena. The other girl, smaller, shook in place, crying quietly, whispers in Urdu under her breath. Her name was Sana. They held hands even with wrists bound. No translator could decode what Lena whispered next, but the collar mic caught it. They'll find us. And across 10 light years, something did hear her. In the frozen vacuum of a deep-sea intelligence array buried under Earth's Atlantic trench, a dormant protocol activated. HELIX Ash, a failsafe code buried beneath every Earth civilian vessel's distress program pinged. Not broadcasted, not traced. It simply marked a location. A whisper to the only people allowed to hear. Asset compromised. Deathworld priority. Permission to burn. Back on T-Sarax, the bidding climbed. The alien crowd wasn't cruel for fun. Cruelty was just business. But Earth wasn't watching business anymore. An unmarked freighter orbited T-Sarax, disguised as an old mining hulk. No crew, no windows, just rust and decay, until its hull blinked once. Then it spoke in old Earth code, 4 characters. SREV Strategic Response Element, Vengeance Class. Inside, no one moved. They waited for a single line of confirmation from Earth. It came as text. Confirmed Earthborn. Response, unleashed. Sana collapsed as her collar tightened. The auctioneer laughed. She weeps already. No training needed. Fine prize. Who bids? Hands lifted. Claws, tentacles, credits, but Lena didn't cry. She looked up at the stars. She wasn't praying. She was counting. Somewhere between star systems, a message reached an old man gardening in Kyoto. He wiped his hands, opened the old war tablet and read the file. His fingers shook. He exhaled, then pressed his thumb against the corner. Authorization granted. Across Earth, others like him received similar messages. Some were soldiers, some were hackers. One was a farmer with a locked barn no one dared enter. They didn't call for backup. They opened the burned files. The kind Earth made for when diplomacy died and rage had to breathe. In the exchange arena, Lena met the auctioneer's eyes and smiled, not in surrender, in warning. The kind of smile predators never see because prey shouldn't have teeth. You're already dead, she whispered. None of them believed her. They would. The auctioneer didn't notice the shift at first. The bids kept climbing, the crowd kept roaring, and the two girls still stood in chains. But far above them, in the nothing between orbit and war, Earth's hand was already closing. The exchange operated on over 400 encrypted channels. Private, military-grade, multi-layered. They all went dark, not jammed, not blocked, just gone. A silence so total it wasn't disruption. It was occupation. A Sangari trade ship near orbit tried to send a request for clarification. Its signal bounced back with a single symbol. The pre-expansion Earth glyph for solar fire incoming. The captain blinked his 6 eyes. That's not a code, that's a warning. Then his reactor melted, from the outside in. On T-Sarax's surface, a man walked into the vendor district. Human, no badge. No armor, just boots, gloves, and a black hat that didn't exist in any database. He bought a drink. He left no credits. He walked into a control hub. No one stopped him. Because no one noticed him. until he tapped 3 times on the center console and said, "Exchange authority revoked. This system belongs to Earth now." And everything in the building powered off. In the arena, the lights flickered, not in warning. In confusion, the bidding screen glitched. Someone shouted about connection loss. Another growled for security. The auctioneer kept speaking. "Ignore the interference, rare meat on offer tonight. Earth females, softcore origin, slightly bruised but still P," he stopped, because Lena was smiling again, and behind her the security gates opened. No alarm, no code, just the doors letting someone in. The first man through was old. No armor, no weapon, just gray eyes and a scar over his throat. He said nothing. He walked to the girl, looked into her eyes, tapped her collar. It fell. He did the same for Sana, who collapsed into his arms. He didn't tell her to run. He didn't ask if she was okay. He just said, "You held on, good girl." Then the building shook. The walls turned red. And outside, the first of the response carriers dropped through the clouds. T-Sarac's defense systems activated. Too late. Their central targeting hub had already been erased, physically removed by an orbital mass driver that didn't show up on any scanners. Silos launched blindly. They hit nothing, because there was nothing to hit. Earth's ships didn't fly in formation. They didn't even fly. They descended, like fire given shape. The arena exploded from underneath, not in flames, in gravity. A compression spike shattered the foundation, ripping half the market underground in a single blink. The crowd screamed. The alien bidders clawed at walls, doors, each other. But Earth wasn't aiming for the crowd. They were aiming for the cameras. Because someone, somewhere in the galaxy, was watching this auction for fun. And Earth wanted them to know, this ends now. Lena and Sana were carried to a waiting ship by hands as gentle as they were deadly. No medbay, no speeches. Just warm blankets, food, and silence. Sana looked up at one of the medics, a human woman covered in soot. "Are we going home?" The woman shook her head. "Not yet, sweetheart." "Why?" She looked back at the burning atmosphere. "Because they're still selling others. And Earth isn't done being angry." Above, in the silence of low orbit, one of Earth's sleeper ships pulsed to life. Engines cold, systems quiet. It didn't fire. It just opened its bay doors and let payloads drop. Not bombs, names. Every buyer, every seller, every participant in the auction. Addressed, tracked, tagged. A message broadcast across deep space on old Earthwave frequencies. 4 words in a dozen alien tongues. "We saw, we remember." The fires on T-Sarax hadn't gone out, they'd spread. Because Earth didn't come to rescue, they came to end it. The exchange was not a city. It was a system. One auction planet connected to over 20 market hubs across fringe space. Each believed itself untouchable, hidden behind old treaties, protected by galactic bureaucracy, guarded by enough firepower to make pirates nervous. None of it mattered, because Earth didn't come with threats. They came with lists, and they started crossing off names. At 400 Standard Galactic, the trade baron of Rezinth III awoke to find his private fleet stripped of AI control. His warships spun helplessly in orbit, systems overwritten by something he didn't recognize. He barely had time to call security before his compound split in half from the inside. A single Earth drop unit had deployed, a rail spike driven into bedrock from orbit, carrying 6 response operatives. They walked through his fortress like ghosts. By the time the cameras caught them, it was too late. The Baron's final words were never broadcast, but the fire from his tower was seen from orbit. Back on T-Sarax, the Exchange Council tried to regroup. What remained of their security forces locked down key zones and prepared countermeasures. They activated slave shock collars across the board. What they didn't realize, every collar with an Earthborn biosignature had already been disabled by someone named Ash. Not a hacker, a program, a promise. Built into every Earth civilian ID band. If taken, if sold, if cataloged, Ash burns the system. Underground, in a hidden portion of the arena ruins, Lena stepped carefully over broken stone. She wasn't hiding anymore. She wasn't just surviving, she was looking. Sana followed quietly, limping but stronger now, her eyes clearer. "You sure about this?" Lena asked. Sana nodded. They weren't waiting to be evacuated, they were hunting. Because they knew something Earth didn't. Some of the worst buyers didn't bid, they whispered. Behind curtains, private tunnels. They were going to find them. Orbit above Tesseract cracked open as Earth's Vengeance-class hulls descended through the clouds. Each was over 800 meters long. No markings, no banners, but on every ship's prow, the silhouette of two girls, hands bound in light, heads raised in defiance. That image would become illegal to show across half the galaxy within days, because it didn't just represent Earth. It represented a question. Where were you when they sold us? Markets burned. Slaver stations shut down, not by force, by fear. No one wanted to be on the next list. No one knew how Earth tracked every transaction, every manifest, every locked-door deal. But they did. And when Earth found a buyer, they didn't kill them. They broadcast them. One such slaver, caught live on his personal yacht, screamed as Earth operatives forced him to read the names of every child he'd purchased. When he finished, the ship exploded in silence. Earth said nothing, because vengeance didn't need words, only justice. Lena and Sana found the last gate in the old tunnels. Behind it, 6 buyers sat in private luxury. They were armed, confident, until they saw her. Not Earth soldiers. Just the girl they'd auctioned an hour ago, now walking toward them without fear. "You thought the fire came from the sky," she said. She raised a hand. "But it started in here." And then the room lit up. Not with bombs, with light. One of them screamed, because Earth had been listening through her collar mic the entire time. And now, Earth was watching. Every hub, every outpost, every corridor that ever housed a slave auction was marked, and Earth lit each one on the same day. Not just for the 2 girls, but for every human taken before them. The exchange never held another auction, because there were no walls left to hold one. The skies above Tesseract no longer burned. They glowed. Red, gold, silent. Ash drifted through the upper atmosphere like snow, chemical, sterile, and final. Not from bombs, from truth. Earth's ships didn't stay. They never do. The 12 Vengeance-class carriers lifted from the surface within a single coordinated breath, engines dark, weapon ports sealed. They left nothing behind but the echo of fire and the weight of what they'd done. In the ruins of the exchange arena, 2 girls stood in the dust. Lena, Sana. No more collars, no more bruises, just scars and silence. A dropship landed nearby. No insignias, no ceremony. A single human medic stepped out. He didn't speak, just offered a hand. They took it. On board the evac ship, Sana sat at the viewport, wrapped in a thermal blanket. She didn't look back at the planet, she looked forward. "Are we going to Earth now?" she asked quietly. The medic hesitated. "Do you want to?" Lena stepped in, eyes locked on him. "We don't want safety. We want to help burn what's left." They didn't stop at Tesseract. Earth's retaliation continued quietly across the outer colonies, surgical, methodical, relentless. Slaver factions surrendered before Earth even arrived. Entire planets broadcast apologies and reparations. Others tried to hide. They were found. Earth's operatives didn't gloat, didn't pose for hollows, didn't ask for thanks. They just activated coordinates, set detonation timers, or wiped systems clean with a glance. It wasn't revenge. It was correction. At the Galactic Convergence Council 2 weeks later, Earth didn't attend the emergency meeting. They didn't answer calls, didn't respond to inquiries, didn't explain why over 200 market hubs across the trade networks had collapsed in coordinated silence. Instead, Earth sent a file. No encryption. Just a single sentence. "We do not negotiate over our children." And attached, an unfiltered 12-second video clip of Lena on the auction stage, holding Sana's hand. The video ended with orbital fire blanketing the sky. The message was received. New laws passed within days, not because of pressure, because of fear. Owning a human became an executable offense. Even speaking of it risked exile. Earth didn't demand justice. They made it contagious. Lena and Sana never gave interviews, never took positions. They declined medals, declined extraction offers, declined silence payments. They joined the Earth Response Corps under code names no one ever traced. Where they went next, only fire and memory followed. Years later, on the scorched remains of what used to be Auction Hub 9, a monument was raised. By humans, built from the melted chains of slave collars, forged in the furnace of the ships that descended in rage. It bore no names, just two figures holding hands, looking up, unbroken, and beneath them, Earth doesn't rescue property, Earth brings her daughters home. And then she brings the storm. End of story. 20,000 words, white heavy check mark. Fire. Earth didn't go to war. They just responded like only a death world could, with fire, memory, and zero forgiveness.